That just brings a big smile to my face. You know, her brother, her older brother, has already said it. He wants to be the next Indian River Keeper.
And he will.
I pray I live long enough to hand him the keys. I really do. Speaking of Indian River Keeper, my program was started about 13, 14 years ago by Kevin Stinette and a group of very interested stakeholders along Indian River Lagoon. Charles Grande, who is also here today, was part of that group. He was part of the founding of my program. And of course, I'm the third in the line. We have George Jones, who's here today with his wife, Diane, and we have Kevin here with Marilyn. So our next speaker is going to be Mr. Kevin Stinette, my board president and our first Indian River Keeper.
It is a tremendous pleasure to be here, and I am really excited to see this degree of enthusiasm and determination in people of our area. Now, we've seen this when they're dumping the lake. We've seen this when they close down our waters and it gets really bad. But it is a vital and important statement to make that even in a year when we're only draining our own basin, people will come out and demand action, demand clear water. Okay? Now, I also want to say there's another founder, Mr. Roger Sharp, one of the other founders of Indian River Keeper, is here. And what Indian River Keeper was about from the start was bringing together homeowners, environmentalists, conservationists, and anglers, and combining the power of those groups who don't always talk well together was really vital to this. So we applied to Waterkeeper Alliance, Bobby Kennedy Jr.'s global organization of people fighting for the water, to have a charter in our area, governed by a board of directors of people who know what's going on here, to hire a riverkeeper, which now is Marty Baum. Now, I would like to have invited Bobby Kennedy Jr. here to speak. No one speaks truth to power the way Bobby Kennedy Jr. does. And I love his quote, show me a polluter and I'll show you a subsidy. And nowhere is that more true than with Big Sugar in Florida. Unfortunately, my wife reminded me that he was getting married yesterday, and I said, but he's very dedicated. But she talked me out of even asking. So we're here, and I want to talk briefly about the many things that are going on that are positive for our watersheds, and some of which divert attention from the goal. We can't take our eyes off the ball, and that's sending water south. You'll hear people talking about urgent and necessary projects, like cleaning up the water from our own watersheds with the C44, C23, and C24 reservoirs, those of which were completely bypassed after having been approved by WRDA. Okay, they're all important. But in too many instances, our politicians, in an effort to divert attention away from what Big Sugar does to our water, throws money at the problem. Okay. David Guest, who I hold in tremendous esteem, said the Clean Water Act says you keep your water until it's clean enough to distribute. Big Sugar doesn't do that. Big Ag doesn't do that. Their out is that they're not industries. Tell me Big Sugar's not an industry, okay? They use best management practices, and even in the best management practices, retention of their water is a key element that they don't follow, okay? We have laws on the books to enforce clean water. There was an article in the paper the other day where a congressman wants to toughen the penalties for polluters. The Clean Water Act says $27,500 per day per instance. If they have 2 pipes going into the water, each one is an instance. Every day they should be fined that. Florida has never levied those fines in its administration of the Clean Water Act. Okay? We must enforce the laws as they're written. Now, perseverance, dedication is going to be vital. Next year, we may have a drought. Next year, the water may be crystal clear and beautiful. And you may hear politicians saying, look what we've done. Okay, it's not enough, because in 3 or 4 or 5 years, we're gonna get hammered again. None of the projects, even the urgent projects like Kissimmee River restoration, like the SEP even, they're not gonna stop the discharges. We need to clean the water and send it south. The Everglades needs it. And we have an option to get that sugar land. In the meantime, there is a fix on the books that needs to be enforced. Big Sugar, U.S. Sugar, the Van Hools, Florida Crystals, all of them have permits to take your water and pump it off their land into your canals. Those permits say if human health and safety is in jeopardy, these permits can be suspended. Okay? We can stack water on Big Sugar property. And it doesn't have to be every year. It doesn't have to be all year in the flood years when they're going to affect your health and safety. They can go to Big Sugar and say, look, turn your pumps off for a little while. Let's let the water back up. The water they would fill the canals with to go south into our water treatment areas, okay, would stay on their property, and we could put lake water in it. Lake water's cleaner than their water. All these things are possible, but it takes tremendous public will. It takes you staying engaged. It takes you communicating with your legislators and your representatives and your neighbors to get people involved and show the political will. Okay? I want to thank Marty for what he's done. I want to encourage all of you to join Indian Riverkeeper. It is a member organization. It bugs me no end that Marty gets up here and doesn't remind people of that. We all love Marty. Why wouldn't we want to be members and keep him engaged? So again, go to your neighbors, tell them that we need to stay engaged, that we can do something about it. We can send water south. There are urgent long-term projects like whatever Plan 6 will eventually become. I mean, it's kind of amorphous now. It needs to clean water. But meanwhile, there is something they can do that will protect our children, that will protect our environment. And it takes people demanding clean water. Thank you.